Okay, you know what Red Dead is? I know what Red Dead is. But for the disgusting uncultured swines that don't know what Red Dead is, I will explain it to you. It's about the Vandalin gang during the end of the Wild West and wacky hijinks pursued. This idea started with me replaying the game a couple weeks ago, and since I have a YouTube channel that hasn't received any uploads in the past couple of weeks, I will try to release a Red Dead video the best I could, with the goal being once a month with some videos in between. Because I don't want my entire channel to be just Red Dead videos. Red Dead Redemption is one of the greatest video game franchises of all time. This franchise has been discussed, analyzed, and memed to death.
Me cringe, Dutch. Micah, you cringy son of a bitch. That's cringe. All together, you know the ice cold wind.
But before we start the video, we need to ground some rules. Every chapter will begin their own video, besides the epilogue, which I'm still debating to myself whether or not it will be 1 or 2 parts. I will be ranking them in a tier list from S tier to D tier. I am only going to do the story missions and not any of the stranger missions, which are side missions if you didn't know, because for the most part they are not relevant to the main story and are easily skippable. I will mention some throughout, but only the ones that are relevant to the themes of the story. It's important to note that these rankings are purely my personal opinions. There may be some controversial placements, so if a mission you love ranks lower than expected, don't say I didn't warn you. Mission 1, Outlaws from the West. Dutch Vanderlyn. The year is 1899 and the age of the Wild West is coming to an end. The Vanderlyn gang is on the run after a failed robbery in Blackwater. They managed to escape the law but got caught in a bad snowstorm in the process.
Abigail says he's dying, Dutch. Okay, Arthur's out looking.
We meet Dutch Vanderlyn, the gang's leader, his longtime best friend, Hosea Matthews, and Arthur Morgan, the protagonist of the story. Arthur managed to find some shelter for the gang.
I found a place where we can get some shelter.
We find out that Jenny died before the game even started, and Davey succumbing to his injuries.
Davey's dead.
There was nothing more you could have done.
Sean and Matt got arrested back in Blackwater. Dutch gives a speech to make the gang feel better.
Throw myself in the ground in their stead. I'll do it.
And rides with Arthur to go find John Marston and Micah Bell.
Can't believe we lost Davy too. He's the last one, Arthur. No more.
Who also went to go find shelter for the gang. Micah sees them and takes them to a house not far away.
Gentlemen,
Found anything?
I think so. Found a little homestead down that way. Sounded like a party.
Let's go see.
Dutch goes to introduce himself, and Micah finds the actual owner.
Arthur,
Dying on the trail.
Arthur, we got a problem. There's a
Cans
body
of food
in the
or
wagon.
something.
I hear you.
It turns out there are O'Driscolls in the area, a rival gang to the Vanderlyn gang.
Hey, I don't believe it. Goddamn Dutch Vanderlyn, you morons!
After finishing them off, Arthur goes to the barn and finds one more left. He beats him and asks some questions.
Where's Cornwall, Driscoll? What are you bastards doing?
It turns out for the reason why they are here is to rob a train. Dutch gives Arthur a choice, either kill him or let him go.
Do what you want with him. I don't care. But bring that horse when you're done. Get the hell out of here.
While in the barn, Arthur finds a horse and takes it. Micah finds Sadie Adler, who was turned into a widow by the O'Driscolls. Micah sees her all traumatized and scared, and being the calm, collected person that he is, he helps her.
Leave her alone!
I wasn't doing that. She's one of them O'Driscolls.
No, she ain't. Micah, look at her.
I wasn't doing that.
Dutch and Arthur help her and take her back to camp.
It's okay. We're bad men. We ain't them.
It turns out the body that Micah found was actually Sadie's husband.
What's your name, miss?
Sadie Adler. He was my husband.
This opening was amazing. I like how it shows us, instead of telling us how great of a leader Dutch is and why the gang trusts him so much. Throughout the first game, we were told how much a great leader Dutch was to the gang, according to John.
We were all bad kids, lost, angry, and forgotten. Dutch didn't see us that way. We robbed banks, stole from the rich, and we gave the money to people who needed it more. He saw that the system of power was rotten, The good people had been crushed for too long.
And since this was a prequel to the first game, we actually get to see how much of a nice soul that Dutch displayed himself to the gang. I also like that we get a hint of Dutch's hypocritical philosophy during the interrogation scene. One of the core rules of the gang they're supposed to follow is that they're not allowed to kill in cold blood, and Dutch is willing to let Arthur kill in cold blood, without Arthur even realizing. Before the game's release, the community was disappointed that John Marston was not the playable character, because he was the playable protagonist in the last game. However, as time passes, Arthur has become one of the most beloved and popular characters in Rockstar history and gaming history. It still amazes me that to this day, Arthur is considered just as popular, if not more beloved, than John Marston, the guy who started this franchise. This unexpected turn of events is a testament to the game's exceptional writing. Anyways, I'm gonna put this mission in A tier, an amazing start to this game. Mission 2, Enter Pursued by a Memory, Abigail Roberts. The fuck is that title? Abigail asks Arthur to go find John after not being seen in days. However, Hosea convinces Arthur to go find John and brings Javier with him. While searching, they manage to find a can, thinking it might be John's. Arthur asks Javier what happened on the boat back in Blackwater.
What really happened on that boat?
We had the money, it seemed fine. Then suddenly they were everywhere.
Bounty hunters?
No, Pinkertons.
He says that Pinkertons were surrounding the boat and Dutch killed an innocent woman in cold blood, which is news for Arthur.
Dutch killed a girl in a bad way.
That ain't like him, though.
And not the last time for Dutch to kill an innocent person. They ride up into the mountains and find John's dead horse. They fire a shot up in the air and manage to find John.
Never thought I'd say this, but good to see you, Arthur Morgan.
Unfortunately, John is badly injured.
Look up there.
I'll distract him while you get to the horses.
Luckily, they manage to ride back to camp safely.
You ain't gonna die. Not yet.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
With Abigail, Hosea, Strauss greeting them. This was a fine one. We get introduced to John and his beautiful scars, Javier, and provide some information about the Blackwater incident. I'll put this mission C tier. It was alright. Mission 3, The Aftermath of Genesis, Mr. Pearson. Arthur meets up with Mr. Pearson and Charles Smith. Pearson needs some food and sends Arthur and Charles to go hunting. Before they go, Charles gives Arthur some bow and arrows. They find some deer tracks and kill the 2 deers. Arthur has a little bonding with Charles. They talk about Sadie and Dutch's feud with the O'Driscolls.
And that girl from the ranch now, too.
She has a wild look in her eye.
She lost her husband, her home, everything she had.
What is it with the O'Driscolls?
We've been scrapping over scores with them for years. Their leader, Colm, and Dutch go way back. And not in a good way. A proper blood feud.
They return to Pearson. The group then engages with a lovely discussion with Uncle.
Find a camp rat loitering around in the kitchen.
Is that any way to greet an old friend?
This mission was another okay one. It was only here to teach us the bow and hunting mechanics. C tier. Mission 4, Old Friends. Bill Williamson. Mike is being a stinky little rat, like always.
Sure.
Arthur and the rest break up the fight. Dutch comes into the room and asks everyone to go investigate that O'Driscoll campsite. Colm O'Driscoll, the leader of O'Driscoll gang, used to be good friends with Dutch. Colm ended up killing Dutch's wife Annabelle, and Dutch retaliated by killing his brother in revenge, an act that the gang's supposed to be against.
You always said revenge is a luxury we can't afford.
This is the right call, Arthur. Some things I can forgive, others I can forget. What he did to Annabelle, I can't do neither.
You killed his brother, Dutch.
Yes, I did.
They get to the campsite and find Colm unhappy with one of his men. They sneak into the camp and kill most of them. Arthur and the rest look around. They manage to find the train location and some TNT. On their way back to camp, they found the guy Colm was yelling at earlier. Arthur catches him.
What's your name, boy?
It's Kieran. Duffy. Kieran Duffy.
I ain't gonna lie to you. This is a real bad day for you.
They imprison him so they can get some answers about Colm's operation.
I can't believe it! An O'Driscoll in my camp!
This was a good mission. Not one of the best, but still pretty good. This one will go in B tier. Mission 5, Who the hell is Leviticus Cornwall? Dutch Vanderlyn. It's been a few days, and the Vanderlyn gang are preparing to rob that train. But before that, Arthur takes a pit stop and meets up with John.
Want me to come? Of course I do, but look at you.
I was always ugly, Dutch.
Abigail comes inside and brings John's son, Jack.
Guess I was hoping to see a corpse.
Hosea is not a big fan about this plan. After the Blackwire massacre, there are lawmen looking for them, and it's not wise to do another robbery after the failed attempt.
Leviticus Cornwall's no joke, Dutch.
Who is Leviticus Cornwall?
He's a big railway magnate, sugar dealer, oil man.
Well, how good for him. Sounds like he has more than enough to share.
Dutch ignores Hosea and proceeds the robbery anyways. Dutch brings Arthur, Lenny, Micah, Bill, Javier, and Charles. Once they got to the destination, Arthur checks on Bill and helps him plant some dynamite on the tracks. The train comes, and Bill, being the stupid idiot that he is, fails his job.
Shit, no! Oh, you have got to be kidding me!
Arthur, Lenny, and Javier jump on the train. Arthur and Lenny made it, but Javier falls a little short. Arthur and Lenny stop the train and kill all the remaining guards.
What the hell was Bill doing?
I hooked up the wire, but we won't mention that.
Dutch and the rest catch up. They threaten the rich people inside. They blow up the door and find some barrel bonds.
What did you find?
These, they worth anything?
Oh, sure. Bearer bonds. Well done.
Dutch gives Arthur a choice.
It's up to you. Kill them, leave them here, take them with you on the train. Just make sure they don't send no folk after us.
Okay.
This mission was great and a lot of fun. It kinda sucks that you can't rob trains in the open world without the law at your front door the whole time, but still great. Letting you know in the future, this train robbery will leave a lasting consequence in the story going forward. If Dutch had listened to Hosea's advice and stuck to the original plan, the game would have been in a much better spot, and would have got a Colm O'Driscoll's gang on Cornwall's hit list. A tier for sure. Mission 6, Eastbound. Dutch Vanderlyn. After the Cornwall train robbery, Hosea is not so happy about it, and Dutch tried to justify it.
What's gone wrong with old Dutch?
Arthur rides with Hosea to Horseshoe Overlook. And oh, by the way, did I tell you the music is marvelous? And also Arthur sucks at riding wagons.
Ah, I broke the goddamn wheel.
Charles comes over to help Arthur and Hosea to fix the wagon. They spotted some Native Americans in the distance. Arthur thinks they are spying on them, but Charles shot that down.
If they wanted trouble, we wouldn't have seen them.
Hosea tells the story of the tribe and how the army screwed them over.
Indians in these parts got sold a very raw deal. They lost it all. Killed or herded up to the reservations in the middle of nowhere.
Charles talks about his background and his parents.
What happened to your tribe?
I don't even know if I have one. My father was a colored man. A couple years later, some soldiers captured my mother. We never saw her again. He was a very sad man, and the drink had a mean hold on him. Around 13, I just took off on my own.
Hosea gives Arthur some cooking supplies for the player. They meet up the rest at the spot. Dutch and Hosea get into a little argument about the Blackwire massacre.
Guess I'm just worried.
I know, my brother, but we are safe.
Dutch has a meeting with the rest of the gang and tells them that any money that they make, the camp gets a share.
Camp gets its slice.
Miss Grinshaw takes Arthur to his tent, and that's the end of the mission. This one was a good one. You don't do much in this one, besides riding a wagon to your new location. But we do get some good dialogue about the Native Americans and Charles's backstory. Oh, and also Arthur breaks a wagon. There were some slow scenes like Arthur breaking a wagon, but overall this one was a pretty good one. I will give this one a solid B tier, a good start to an amazing game. And that's the end of chapter 1. Overall, this was a really good start to the game, but we are just getting started and there are some bangers coming up soon. With that anyways, if you like this video, leave a like, dislike if you dislike it, make sure you that subscribe button and smash that bell button if you can. I really don't care, you do you.